Unit 2, Real Estate License Law and Commission Rules. Key term review, active license. Active license status is required to engage in real estate services. Sales associates achieve active license status by finding an employer and registering with the DBPR under the employing broker or owner-developer. Cancel means to become void without disciplinary action. Cease to be in force or cease to be in effect means that when certain events occur, such as a broker changing a business address, the licensee cannot conduct a business until the DBPR receives notification of the change. Current mailing address is the current residential address a licensee uses to receive mail through the U.S. Postal Service. Current status indicates the licensee is up to date with respect to the DBPR's licensure requirements. Executive powers of the Florida Real Estate Commission include the power to regulate and enforce license law. Group license is issued to a sales associate or broker associate employed by an owner-developer, real estate developer, who owns properties in the name of various entities and entitles the licensee to work for the separate sales projects owned by the project developer. Involuntary inactive status results when a licensee is not renewed at the end of the license period. Ministerial duties of the Division of Real Estate involve record keeping. Multiple licenses refers to when a broker holds more than one broker's license. Null and void means to no longer exist. Probation allows the licensee to continue to practice real estate under the guidance of the FREC for a period of time while completing conditions specified by the FREC. Promulgate means to enact and publish rules and regulations. Quasi-judicial means the powers of the FREC include the power to grant or deny license applications, to determine license law violations, and to administer penalties. Quasi-legislative powers of the FREC include the power to enact administrative rules and regulations and to interpret questions regarding the practice of real estate. Voluntary inactive is the license status that results when a licensee has applied to the DBPR to be placed on inactive status. Voluntary relinquish occurs when a person no longer wants to engage in the real estate business, provided there is no investigation or discipline pending against the licensee. Key concepts. Department of Business and Professional Regulation is the agency charged with licensing and regulating business and professionals under the executive branch of the governor, governed by Florida Statute 120. Secretary of DBPR is appointed by the governor, subject to confirmation by the state senate. Has the authority to investigate consumer complaints, issue subpoenas when conducting investigations, issue cease and desist orders to unlicensed individuals, and issue citations to licensed individuals. Initial application fee, biennial license fee, and unlicensed activity fee are waived for military veterans who apply for a DBPR license within 60 months after honorable discharge. Current mailing address. The residential address is a licensee uses to receive mail through the United States Postal Service, and a P.O. box is an acceptable mailing address. Division of Professions regulates education courses and license examinations. Division of Service Operations, Customer Contact Center and Central Intake Unit. Division of Florida Condominiums, Timeshares, and Mobile Homes does the arbitration program for HOAs. Division of Real Estate, the director of the DRE is appointed by the Secretary of the DBPR, subject to FREC approval. Administrative duties of DRE include routine duties and clerical functions on behalf of the FREC. Ministerial duties involve record keeping. The Florida Real Estate Commission consists of 7 members. 5 commissioners are professional licensed members. 4 must be Florida real estate brokers who have held active licenses during the 5 years preceding appointment. 1 must be either a Florida real estate broker or sales associate that has held an active license during the 2 years preceding appointment. 2 remaining members are consumer, unlicensed, or lay members, and consumer members have never been real estate brokers or sales associates. 7 Florida real estate commissioners are appointed by the governor, subject to confirmation by the Florida Senate, appointed to 4-year staggered terms, may not serve more than 2 consecutive terms, paid $50 per day per diem. At least one of the 7 members must be 60 years or older. Commission powers include 3 general areas. Executive power to regulate and enforce license law, including foster the education of applicants and licensees, adopt a seal, and establish fees. Quasi-legislative power to enact and revise administrative rules include create and pass rules and regulations, regulate professional practices. Quasi-judicial power to grant or deny applications and administer penalties include grant and deny applications for licensure, suspend and revoke licenses, and impose administrative fines, make determinations of violations. FREC may not impose imprisonment as a punishment. FREC powers do not involve criminal actions. License renewal periods. Real estate licensees are issued with an expiration date of either March 31st or September 30th. The expiration date that is assigned to a particular license is the date that will give the licensee as close to 24 months of licensure as possible without exceeding 24 months. License renewal. Licensees must submit renewal and biennial license fees. Licensees must complete the applicable post-licensing or continuing education requirements before renewing license. Armed Forces Renewal Exemption. Members of the U.S. Armed Forces who have licenses in good standing are exempt from license renewal while on active duty and for 6 months thereafter. If the military duty is out of state, the exemption also applies to a licensed spouse. The exemption does not apply if the licensee engages in real estate services for profit during that period. Temporary license. The DBPR may issue a temporary real estate license to the spouse of an active duty member of the armed forces who is assigned to duty in Florida. The spouse must hold a valid real estate license in another state or foreign jurisdiction, and a temporary license expires 6 months after the date of issue and is not renewable. Active versus inactive license. Active status required to engage in real estate brokerage services. The licensee must have an active license at the time the service of real estate was performed. However, the licensee may be inactive at the time payment is received. Voluntary inactive. A licensee has timely renewed but chooses not to engage in the real estate business. Licensee requests to be placed in this status, and the licensee may renew as voluntary inactive indefinitely. Involuntary inactive. A licensee failed to renew the license on time. License automatically expires and becomes null and void after 2 years by operation of law. When a license has been involuntary inactive for 12 months or less, complete the 14 hours of continuing education. When a license has been involuntary inactive for more than 12 months but less than 24 months, complete a 28-hour reactivation education. FREC may reinstate a license that has become null and void if the former licensee applies for reinstatement within 6 months and the FREC determines that the former licensee failed to comply with the renewal requirements because of illness or economic hardship. Broker's license suspension or revocation. Sales associates placed in involuntary inactive status, and the license is returned to active status when a new employer is chosen and the information is filed with the DBPR. Null and void license means the license no longer exists. When a license is involuntary inactive for more than 2 years, the license becomes null and void without any further action by the DBPR or the FREC. A license becomes null and void when it has been revoked. A person who no longer wants to engage in the real estate business can voluntarily relinquish their license. When a license is canceled, it becomes null and void. Cancellation does not involve disciplinary action. Cease to be in force means that the licensee cannot conduct business. If a sales associate leaves one brokerage and wants to work for another, the DBPR must be informed of the new employer. Until the sales associate is registered under the new employer, the sales associate cannot work. The sales associate's license ceases to be in force until the sales associate has registered with the new broker. The DBPR must be notified within 10 days when a broker or registered school changes business address, or a sales associate or real estate instructor changes employer. DBPR License Portal Online Service. The DBPR maintains a database of licenses issued by the department. Primary status is the first status, followed by the secondary status. Primary status must state either current or probation to be eligible to operate as a licensee. Sales associate's license status is changed in one of two ways. Broker updates the online portal service in real time by adding the sales associate to its roster of licensees. Status can also be updated by submitting a change of status form signed by the licensee and the broker. Multiple licenses. Issued to a broker who qualifies as the broker for more than one brokerage entity. For each business that a person is a broker, a separate broker license must be obtained. Because sales associates and broker associates may have only one registered employer at a time, sales associates and broker associates may not hold multiple licenses. Group license is a term that means a sales associate is registered with an owner-developer who owns properties in the name of various entities. Sales associates and broker associates who are employed by an unlicensed owner of real estate, a developer, are issued a group license. The group license entitles the licensee to work at various sales projects for the owner-developer. 10 important days and times to remember. 10 days. Number of days to notify the DBPR regarding a change of business address or a change in current mailing address. 10 days. Number of days a sales associate, broker associate, or an instructor has to notify the FREC of a change of employer. 6 months. Grace period after discharge from military duty to renew license. 2 years. Time period after which involuntary inactive license becomes null and void.